Welcome to Selfish Confidence, a place where we can connect and be real about how hard it is to be your damn self. My name is Jess, and my goal is to help you build confidence and belief in yourself to live any life path you want, even if it's unconventional. It's time to flip off societal pressures and connect with women who've also felt on the outside by their life choices. We're here to encourage you to grab the mic and speak your truth. I know it can be scary, but we're in this together. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Selfish Confidence Podcast. It's Jess here, and I am really excited to chat with you today. I don't often sit down at the mic like this and record whatever is on my heart. I often do on our lives. We sit down, we do this, but it's different because it's live and I'm pooping my pants a little bit as I do it. It's different for me to just sit and hang out and really chat about what's on my heart. It's different than when I do interviews or when I do, the lives. So it's just a time for me to sit down, and I love doing this. I feel like we're hanging out. I'm sipping on chai tea latte, an iced one, and just enjoying the spring weather and the season that we're about to step into. And maybe you're feeling the same way. That this is just the type of season you're just like, oh yeah, everything feels so good. I got my iced coffee in the hand. I am going for a walk with the dog. I am just having a beautiful, sunny filled day. And I am so grateful that you chose this podcast to listen to today. I'm so glad that you feel connected here, that you feel like a piece of the puzzle that I've always wanted to have, and the community that we've built here, and just feeling like you belong here, that you're safe here, that you can be whoever you want to be here. Because that's how I feel with you. It's these days like today where we get to sit down and have a coffee together and really just enjoy getting to know each other and getting to know what the story is behind the mic. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today. The question that I keep getting from people is, am I unconventional? Do I fit in with your crowd, with your people, with your podcast? And I don't always know how to answer it. It's interesting because I think for so long we've been told to do things one way that we still try to put ourselves in a box. Either I'm conventional or I'm unconventional, and I actually don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot more to it, and that's what we're going to dive into today. Am I unconventional? The reason this topic came up this week was a couple of things. Yesterday, I was actually thinking about what a typical standard unconventional person is, and as someone who lives in this world, I still question it, right? What does that even mean? Am I unconventional? I have a podcast all about unconventional lives and doing things differently and having confidence to live your truth, and I still am like, wait, what? Do I fit in? But like, frig that. Why are we questioning if we fit in? That's kind of the opposite of the whole point. But anyways, the reason why this came up was I was visualizing what an unconventional person looked like, right? The thing that I pictured was like someone driving in a van with like purple hair and just like not giving a care about anything else in this world, just like living their life. And I actually don't think, of course, that's unconventional, right? We can all agree they're living a very different life. But what's really interesting is that the way that I live life, and the way that probably you live life too, is also unconventional and very different. It doesn't have to be, purple hair, driving in a van, surfing on a Wednesday afternoon for it to be unconventional, for it to be different, for it to stir the pot a little bit in society's world of what's perfect. And the reason why this idea came into my mind, this visual came into my mind, was because the other day I was on a podcast episode. I was recording with a girlfriend, and we were talking about what's new in my life and what's going on. And there was a question that I felt like I really had to speak up and share, that I didn't want children. And it still makes me queasy in the stomach to say that out loud, because I get so many questions about it. Oh, well, why? Or, oh, well, you'll change your mind. Or, oh, yeah, come back and tell me, on your deathbed if you really made the right decision, right? All these things, these negative ideas. And some of them might 100% be in my head. We overplay it in our head so much more than what society actually thinks sometimes because, well, let's be real. Everybody's busy. Not everybody's thinking about, how we do life differently. But we think about it all the time because it's our life. And so in this moment, when I knew her audience and knew who she was talking to and knew who I was connecting with, I knew there was someone who needed to hear me say it, because we need more people to live their truth and speak it out loud so the world can see it, so that they feel less alone. But it's still so uncomfortable for me to say. I sometimes think it would be so much easier if I was that girl with purple hair driving in the van, going to go surfing on a Wednesday afternoon without a care in the world. I think it'd be easier because as you see her just driving down the road, not giving an F, she's living her life and she's just so beautiful as she does it. And what's interesting about this is that she's just a visual in my head. She's just someone who I admire, that I can see her living her life the way that I always dreamed that I could. And for some reason in my head, I instantly think it must be easier for her. Easy for her to live her truth. It must be so wonderful for her to feel so carefree. But we don't know what's going on in her head. She could be driving down the road and thinking, and again, this is all in my head, but she could be driving down the road and thinking, oh, that person's judging me, or I got the look again, or, oh, this or that, right? They could really be caring about what others think, just like you probably do too. And I know it freaking sucks. It sucks to live every day worried about the judgment of others and the fear of not fitting in. And it's interesting, I still find it interesting, even though I have a whole community and a podcast about being different and doing things differently, that we all struggle with it. I don't want you to ever think I'm immune to it either, because I noticed it deep when I did that podcast episode the other day, and I said what was actually on my heart. I spoke up, and I used my voice in a way that really made me feel uncomfortable. But I know the more that I do it, the more that other people hear it, the more that we can really amplify being different. And that doesn't have to be purple hair surfing on a Wednesday or having a huge dog rescue with like 50,000 dogs. It doesn't have to be that big. Unconventional can be doing something differently. Unconventional can be parenting your kids in a different way, in a way that the world is probably still going to judge you for it. Unconventional just means that you're doing things differently. So if you're asking yourself, do I fit in here? Do I fit in this podcast? I would say you probably haven't been listening long enough to really get an understanding of what it's all about here. So go back and listen to some more episodes and really see if you connect with it. And if you don't, that's fine. Don't worry. But if you do, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And what's really special about this place is that we're done trying to fit in. So again, if you're asking yourself, do I fit in here? You're probably not in the right place. We're about doing things differently. We're about being ourselves and finding the confidence and the guts to just stand up and scream it from the rooftops, to live life out loud and stop hiding in the closet for the rest of the world, to keep living their normal lives. These normies are like, doing things the way that society told them to do it. But here we do things differently. And we do things however you want to do things. And we celebrate that. And we share that. Because again, the more we can do that, the more we can share what we're doing, the more other people are going to feel less alone. How many times can you think of a moment where somebody did something, someone said something out loud, and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who thought those weird things. Like if I were to drive my car off the road right now, or if I were to, I can't even say some of the weird ones that pop into my head, but you probably think them too, okay? Just these like really weird random thoughts, which you're not going to do anything about them. You're just like random that pop in your head and you're like, wait, am I a maniac? Like, why does my brain work like that sometimes? We just do. But it's the coolest thing to say it and to start to learn that you're not alone and that there's a community around you and there's people who think and feel and do things just like you do. So when it comes to the unconventional life, I'm not going to give you a box and be like, if you fit into this, if you check these boxes, you are welcome here. You fit in here. We're not trying to fit in. We're not trying to fit in the box. We're not trying to check the boxes on the checklist. What we're trying to do is to be ourselves and to live in that truth. I remember last year, I think it was April of 2022, I took a course to help me to monetize this podcast, to grow it in a way that felt good and right for me. And at that point, I had focused on helping women have more confidence and to feel like themselves. That's where the word selfish confidence came from. It was about self-confidence and like, I kind of have it, I'm figuring it out, but like, let's figure it out together kind of thing. And as I started to grow in that field, someone suggested to me, you know what, you need to speak up about your truth, about not wanting children, and lean into having a community for people who not only don't want kids. This isn't a place where it's like only people who don't want children. It's not like that. It's a place where we speak up and we use our voice in a way that feels authentic and great to us. So if I can do it and I can use my voice and I can say, you know what, my husband and I are happily married. We love each other. We have a home. We are happy with our dog and 2 cats. If I can speak up and say that, maybe you can speak up about wanting to leave your job and start a business. Maybe you could speak up about wanting to parent your kids differently. Or maybe you could speak up about wanting a divorce. There's so many different parameters of an unconventional life. It's just about being different. Just about doing things differently. And I think it's freaking incredible that I've been building a community for the last year in a space where you can come and be different and you can say what it is that's actually on your heart. I often say this to my clients, like safe space, you can tell me anything. You can go way out of the box, totally left field. Whatever you want to say is safe with me. Share it with me. I will never think of you differently unless maybe you're going to tell me you have plans to murder someone, in which case I do not. Don't share that with me, please, because I do have to act on that. But other than that, you can go as far and as deep as you want, except to like, that's my boundary right there. And it really creates a beautiful space for people to be able to say what's really on their heart. Because sometimes we think, yeah, I'm totally alone. Nobody else has ever thought this. People are going to judge me. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some people are going to judge you. I still feel to this day very judged. And I've been open about it for about a year now. And that's not even that long. But it still is a struggle for me to step into my truth. And I also feel very unconventional in the work that I do. When people ask, even today, I was out with some girlfriends, they said like, oh, well, what are you doing for work now? And having to explain it sometimes, I feel really off and really weird about it. And I'm just wanting to be really transparent with you that as someone who leads people in this direction, who helps people on a daily basis to feel more confident to speak their truth, I still struggle with it. I still downplay it. I still hide behind some things sometimes because it's easier to hide. It's easier to blend in than to stand out, to speak up. But I need to ask you this. How is blending in and how is hiding in a box helping you right now? How do you feel as you blend in, as you be a wallflower in the corner, as people don't, question what you're doing? Because maybe you checked all the boxes just like I did. I went through life for so long checking the boxes. Graduated high school, got good grades, came from a good family, put in the work, did the effort, went to university, got the degree, found the really cool, hot husband, check, 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 bought the house, got a job before I even graduated university, started to live a very successful life, got married, all of the things. I did them all. Check, 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 check. Okay, that job wasn't fulfilling. Awesome. I found a better one. I upgraded to a better paying job. Great. Check the box. Those things are celebrated. Those boxes are celebrated. It's not always celebrated to do things differently, right? To wear the clothes you actually want to wear, to have the amount of kids you want to have or not have, right? If you do have more than that 2, 1 boy, 1 girl, you are judged too. There's no right way to do that. So if you are still considering, am I unconventional? Am I doing things differently? You probably have been judged for whatever choices you've made in life, right? The choice to have 2 kids, the choice to have 3, 4, you're going to get looked at for whatever you decide. To stay in the job that you hate, to leave the job that you hate, to drink milk, to not drink milk, to eat meat, to not eat meat, whatever, right? We are constantly judged for our choices and for our decisions that we have over and over and over again, whether it's to our face or behind our back. And I'm just tired of caring. I'm tired of hiding who I am in different areas of my life. And I'm very open with my family and very open with my friends and obviously with my partner. But there's still times that I'm just like, is this a safe person? Can I actually say what's on my heart or what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling? There's this huge fear around the judgment. And I felt that on the podcast I was recording with a girlfriend, which is a great episode. I can't wait for you to hear it. I will share it on my stories. But in that moment, I said to her right before we started recording, I was like, oh, your audience is going to hate me. And I don't know about you, but sometimes we put ourselves in these situations where we just instantly think like this person isn't going to accept me for who I am. But what if we were to give people the benefit of the doubt? What if we were to just be ourselves, be as brave and courageous as the purple-haired girl in the van going surfing on a Wednesday? There's always a discomfort that comes with being different. There's always going to be that fear in our belly that just kind of holds us back a little bit. So I challenge you to step into it, step into the judgment, step into the fear. This morning before I sat down in the chair to record, I decided to pull a card. And I was like, you know what? What do you want me to talk about today? Where am I supposed to be leaning into? What message should I focus on today? And what's really interesting, the card that I got was one I have never pulled before. It's called The Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? And there's one piece in it that I really want to share with you today because it was that moment of reading it, pulling this card and be like, oh, okay, this is exactly the moment that I need to share about those fears. And so it says here, sometimes fear is an indication that we are facing the right way. Joan of Arc was known for her courage and her famous line, I am not afraid. I was born to do this. But the thing about courage is that it's not possible without fear. So if you're feeling afraid, what is needed is courage. And courage comes from living from the heart. And as soon as I read that today, I was like, ooh, hot diggity dog. I want to hide in a box. I want to hide in a corner. But this fear is telling me that I'm on the right path, that I'm doing the right thing. I just need to have some courage to speak up and to be myself. And what's really interesting about the work that I do is even though I encourage so many others to do it, I'm never going to come on this mic and tell you that I have it all figured out, that I have confidence through and through, and that I can just stand on a stage and tell the whole world that I live life this way and I am happy. So if you're listening to this today and you have something on your heart that you've been wanting to share with people, but it's a little out there, it's a little different. It could be as different as just choosing the clothes you want to wear, right? Maybe today you want to wear a crop top, but as a mom, you might get judged for wearing a crop top. Or as someone with a belly, you might get judged for wearing a crop top. Or you have a two-piece bathing suit that you really want to wear, but someone with your body type doesn't really wear two-piece bathing suits. Frick that. Frig it. No. We're going to embrace it. If that's what you want to wear and that's what you want to do and that's how you want to show the beauty that you are to the world, then heck yeah, let's do it. I don't know why I think it's the sun. The sunshine right now is just making me feel like bathing suit vibes are coming soon. And this is a conversation that we're going to have probably really soon, right? So why not have it now? Who are you? What do you like to do? How do you like to have fun? How do you like to express yourself? How do you like to get freaky in the bedroom? Whatever it is that maybe the world might look at you differently for, know that you can be open about it here. Know that you can share in my communities and with me who you are, and you will always feel safe. You will always be loved. And I got a little emotional as I said that. I had to pause for a second because I think that this was what I had always wanted for so long. I always wanted a space where I could be loved, even for being different. And although I'm not, crazy out there, loud and proud all the time, I'm unconventional. Life looks a little different over here. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't want kids. I am a very happy dog mom. I like to wear bright colors. I like to have fun. I like to go to the beach. I like to, take a Wednesday off and go to the trampoline park, which is what I did this morning with my best friend and her kids. And I like to be able to live a life like this. even if it looks different. And some people admire it, some people think it's super cool, and other people think it's super weird. It doesn't matter. What matters is what I think. And the same thing for your life. It doesn't matter what I think. Even if you message me and I'm like, that is weird, you're right. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you think and what you like about your life. And a couple of things that I wrote down today that I thought might help you to kind of overcome this feeling that we have of feeling judged, that fear that we have of living out loud the way that we want to live. And the first place that I wanted to go was just like, how do I live with this? Well, like, you just start to live. The more you live out loud, the more you speak your truth, the more that you are yourself in the world, the easier it gets. The more times that you share what it is that you're feeling and you're thinking with people, with your family, with anyone that you want to share it with that feels safe, the easier it becomes. But that fear of judgment doesn't go anywhere until you get over the insecurities that you have. The feelings that you have in your gut right now that are just like, oh gosh, I'm living in a different world. I wish that I could be loud and proud and doing all these things. Until you start to get rid of that shame that you're feeling for being unconventional and for being different, you will always feel worried every time you share it. And this can come certainly from trauma, from telling people over and over again and them just like not understanding and not getting it. So you surround yourself with people who get it, who help you to feel amazing and feel accepted and loved for whatever decision you make in your life. And until you start to feel that in certain safe spaces, you'll be able to live out loud in public a bit more. And as you do, this starts to go away. But until you can work with that shame that you feel around it, this feeling that you have every time you share it isn't really going to go anywhere. And so contact a therapist, find a community, lean on a friend who loves you so deeply, and see how you feel as you start to live it out loud in some safe spaces. But I also wanted to share with you one thing that really helped me was practicing answers to difficult questions. So I actually did this with a client the other day too, who, like me, wasn't sure if they wanted kids. And she was nervous of going to family gatherings and not drinking. And if she wasn't going to drink, then there might be questions from people about, well, why aren't you drinking? Are you pregnant? And then having to have that conversation, that discussion. That one was a hard one for me. Still is a hard one for me. I don't really drink that much, but I do find it easier to put a glass of wine in my hand sometimes so I don't have to answer that question. And maybe you feel that way too. But I would practice those questions. So if someone were to be like, oh, are you pregnant? No. Or answer it however you feel comfortable. Like, oh no, I'd rather not talk about my body. Or like whatever, however you want to answer it. And maybe the question can be around your sexuality or whatever it is that you're feeling that discomfort on being truthful with people about. Practice the answer that feels really good for you. And say it over and over and over again until you feel confident with it. It feels really weird. I know a lot of people hate to do the role-playing thing, but I promise you to have those answers confidently in your pocket so that when someone asks the question, you're not caught off guard, you're prepared, and you can control the conversation a little bit more in whatever way you feel most comfortable to do so. And the other thing that I have on my list here to just help you to feel more confident with your decisions and with the conversations that you have and how to live out loud really proud is to ask yourself, is this what I want? Over and over and over again. And getting really clear, because a lot of times it's that uncertainty that makes us feel a little shaky in it. I actually used to not tell anyone how I was feeling in case I changed my mind. I would never tell anyone big things. I didn't tell anyone that we were buying a house until we signed the papers and we were closed and the keys were in our hand. I didn't tell anyone when we sold our house. Even though a lot of people knew we were looking, I made it very, very safe for me to make my decisions based on what I wanted, not based on what anyone else wanted. And for me, the safest way to do that was to hide it. And I think that has emulated into different areas of my life, including not telling people that I didn't want kids in case I changed my mind. But this is just a reminder, it's okay to change your mind. So live your life out loud, share your truth, your current truth. And if that changes, that's okay. We're going to have a new truth to share. And yeah, people are going to probably say, oh, well, I thought you didn't want that. Or, oh, I thought you were going to be a lawyer for the rest of your life. Oh, wow, I can't believe you left your law degree. I don't have a law degree. That's just what came to my mind. But what's interesting is that there's always going to be someone who doesn't get it. or someone who genuinely is curious why you changed your mind and they want to learn more about you. Our heads always go to the judgment and the fear because that's where we think people come from, right? But other times people might be accepting and just want to know more about you. So walk into these conversations open-minded. Don't put your judgments of yourself in their head and really get clear on what you want. And once you're clear on it, cool. And if you're not clear and you want to change your mind, cool. That's what unconventional is all about. That's what being different is all about. It's being open to change, being open to who you are and sharing that with the world. The more you can share who you are, the more inspiring you will be in this world. And actually, I also think the more aligned you'll feel in the decisions that you make. Not a lot of people put this work in. Not a lot of people sit down and listen to podcasts like this. You're different just by being here. And that's a beautiful thing. I'm proud of you for putting in the work and for listening to yourself and sharing that. And if you have never shared with someone what it is that you're feeling or thinking or what's on your heart and you're just like, oh, I could never tell anyone, I challenge you to tell me. I am safe. I am a space that you can always communicate what you're feeling and you're thinking. Again, except for the boundary of murder, like don't tell me beyond that. But other than that, please do. Connect with me, and I'd love to be that space where you can finally speak up. There's something really cool. I remember the first time when I actually said it out loud, and I was like, I can't tell people that. I can't share that on my podcast. But when I did, the amount of messages that I got from people who were also feeling the same way, who felt less alone because someone said it, was the greatest gift I was ever given. And that's how this podcast kind of transformed into the communities that we've created and the spaces that we have and the retreats that we have. And I'm so, so, so grateful that someone pushed me a little bit to be different, to live life my way. And so I'm going to push you a little bit too. I thank you for being here. I love you so much. And I hope you have a beautiful day. What's up, sis? I am so glad we could hang out today. If you love this episode, send it to a friend or share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me sprinkle some confidence in the world. And don't forget, you are magic. Let's show the world your shine.